What about Alex Cobb just getting traded, apparently just now, to the Guardians? I mean, I thought
Yeah,
the
I
Giants were
think
trying. I mean, why not
they,
go ahead and trade Snell now?
yeah, that's what they've signaled to all these teams too, and that they weren't really trying to like sell off a whole lot. Um, and I think this deal came together pretty quickly because 30 minutes ago I heard nothing was really cooking with the Giants. So yeah, I think that deal definitely came together pretty quickly. But that's the thing that they have in San Francisco is a lot of pitching depth, and they're moving on from it right now, or at least one piece of it. And the Guardians have been one of the most aggressive teams looking for starting pitching in baseball, and they end up getting one, a proven guy, controllable, obviously coming off the injury. So that's got to be something in the back of your mind. But with their pitching development, you got to think they'll be able to get him right back on track post injury here. I think that's a really smart move for the Guardians. And as far as the Giants now, I mean, you got to think all bets are off. I mean, I don't. If you had to, I don't know the likelihood of a Snell move by any means, but teams are asking about him. There's been conversations. I don't think he gets moved, but at this point, after moving Soler and Alex Cobb, I don't think you can really rule it out. And especially if they're able to get off of that contract, I think that's going to be something they really entertain here in the next 3 hours.
I don't think the Orioles are going to acquire another starter. I think they're done. I think they acquired Zach Eflin. They acquired Trevor Rogers. Both of those guys are eligible to be controlled for multiple years, and that's it. That's the end.
Are the O's fans happy, though, with those two?
Should they be?
If you can get a Crochet or you can get someone else.
But what if Crochet can't pitch in October?
Again,
but I mean,
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this now. If you trade for Garrett Crochet,
yeah,
and he walks into that clubhouse and they say, we're going to keep starting you and you're going to pitch into the postseason, and he goes, nope, I'm not pitching. And you look at James McCann, who took a 95-mile-an-hour fastball off his face yesterday and caught 9 innings afterwards, how do you think that's going to go over? You think Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, those guys are going to be like, it's okay, Garrett, we'll get him next year?
What if he can't pitch well, though? What if he starts to fade, like many pitchers do in this particular situation, or he gets hurt? That's
you deal with.
So you're letting him be a ticking time bomb.
But just saying, like, I'm not going to pitch because I don't have an extension, that would not fly. Like, I mean, yeah, guys would be very angry about that. I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. That's why I think this is such a big deal that it came out. Because if he just would have got traded, and listen, again, I see it from his side. He's like, I'm a starter. I've never pitched this much. I'm trying to protect myself for the next few years coming up. But at the same time, you do that behind the scenes. So for this to get out, now if you're a team looking to make again, the Dodgers make this trade. They're the one team that can say, all right, well, but he said he didn't want to be a reliever. So would he start him for an inning or two and try to get him to the postseason?
Well, that's the problem. If you acquire him and then you say, hey, here's the plan we drew up. We think this will work well. You'll be in the bullpen for the next month and a half. And he's like, no, I did that. I went from starter to reliever. I blew out. Now I'm back and I'm dealing. I don't want to go back to pumping up velocity and getting hurt again. It didn't work for me personally, right? It didn't work for him. He got hurt. He doesn't want to go back to being a reliever. He's a Cy Young candidate.
So, but if he keeps starting the rest of the year, and let's say okay, then let's say the Dodgers trade for him, you start him every 6th day. You say you're pitching 1 inning. You're still a starter. You're an opener.
You start the game, you go 1 inning. Josh Bell acquired by the Diamondbacks. That's some nice Christian Walker insurance because he's got an oblique issue. Plus, just some nice depth to have, right? Mm-hmm. Even if he ends up, as more of a bench bat. Okay, great. Costs like $2 million for the rest of the year. I'll take that.
Yeah, it's a good insurance policy for him.
Yeah,
I love it.
Really nice. And Walker's going to miss some time. I don't know what the situation is, but he's going to miss some time. And the difference for the Diamondbacks right now is their playoffs is now too. They have to play well now. If they miss Christian Walker, it's only 2 weeks. Okay, maybe Josh Bell helps them win a game or two during that time period, So that makes sense. How about Mark Leiter Jr. to the Yankees, who I think has actually been one of the more underrated relievers. The ERA is not as shiny. The strikeout numbers are huge. The xERA, which is going off strikeouts, walks, other peripheral numbers, is really good. Like he is, quote unquote, unlucky this year compared to what the results have been with batted ball contact and the strikeout to walk ratio. Good pitcher. He's looked good when you see him for Chicago. Yeah. So it's a nice pickup for the Yanks. Not as big of a name. Obviously the name is there with the family, but not as big of a,
he's got a split. Nasty split.
Right. There's another splitter guy. but not, it's not the Tanner Scott name you're hearing or the Kyle Finnegan because he doesn't rack up saves. But so what?
It's strikeouts. It's strikeouts. And to me, if you look at a team like the Cubs, kind of depleted in the bullpen throughout the year, ERA, if I were to just look at the outside looking in, ERA is, you got to kind of wash it out there because I think they're kind of keeping him out there longer than he should be out there. But if you look at 53 strikeouts in 36 innings, 36 and a third, take that all day into a bullpen that needs strikeouts. He's not going to be closing. Relax, Yankee fans. I get it. He's not closing. But what it does is it pushes your depth. It pushes your Luke Weavers into better situations because this is a guy that can come in and get lefties. He can neutralize lefties with that splitter too.
Yeah, it's a great deal. I mean, I'm sure they're still active right now, but it's a great pickup. So I think this is a big one for a player that most people probably don't know about since he's been pitching for Oakland, and he doesn't have the easiest name to pronounce either. Lucas Erceg has been a star out of the bullpen for the A's. Not to mention he's overshadowed by Mason Miller, but the Royals just picked up a high-leverage reliever that could really help them down the stretch and in the playoffs if they get there.
Yeah, this is a guy that most teams would have died for. Plus, he's got a lot of control left.
Yeah.
5 more years, right?
He is, I believe, under control, until 2028-ish.
Yeah.
I'll double check.
So, this guy's been the 8th inning setup guy for Mason Miller. And he's closed some games for him when Miller was unavailable. So, this is a great pickup if you're a Royals fan. I mean, my money line bet on the Royals just looked – he won't make it today, but, man, it looks better now.
Oh, you're saying picking the Royals to win? Yeah, I don't think he's going to make it. When you get a phone call at 3:40 Eastern, I don't know where they're playing tonight. I'm not as locked in, but yeah, this was a guy who was purchased from Milwaukee, right, in May of last year. He was a second rounder, in 2016 by the Brewers. Fast forward to 2023, and this is not a guy that had been able to figure it out, and then all of a sudden it has clicked for him. And he's thriving. Yeah,
Twins.
4-seam, 2-seam, curveball.
By the way,
better.
Much like last year, left. The Twins didn't make anything last year. They just sat there and watched every other team sell in the Central. This year, some teams are buying, and the Twins haven't done anything.
Yeah, it's a very different division this year.
Dejong, you reported, switching dugouts from White Sox to KC. I mean, I'm sure he's pumped about that. And then Andrew Chafin allegedly going to the Rangers. What are the Rangers doing?
The Rangers are trying, and they wanted to add another reliever. They're still looking for a bat as well. They would like to add another hitter. And this is a team that clearly still believes it can win, and they've got Josh Young coming back. They've got the pitchers we've discussed coming back. And if they get on a little bit of a roll here, they'll be right in the middle of this thing. They kind of are right in the middle of this thing. So that's what they're doing. DeYoung, to me, just seems like a depth move for Kansas City, some protection in the infield, gives them a veteran presence. It's not really a difference maker by any stretch of the imagination, but it enhances their roster.
All right, the Mariners are getting JT Chargois from the Marlins, so another reliever add. My whole thing is, is he better than Stanek? Because I started thinking about our conversation yesterday about how much adding and subtracting the Mariners did, and I was like, hold up. They love that, but also a lot of it is it's money moves. Jerry's really good at making trades, so he's kind of the perfect guy for Seattle because Seattle runs like Minnesota. They go to him and they say, this is the hard number. You have a salary cap. You do whatever you want with that. So if you want to boost this position, right? If you want to add a Rosarena, then you have to knock off a few $1 million off the bullpen, but you don't want to disrupt the productivity of the bullpen. So you got to bring in a Yimi, you got to bring in a Chargois, but then you got to trade away a Stanek. That's how I see it. I'm pretty sure that's how it's running there.
For sure. That's what they did this offseason. It was like they saved $1 million, but they got rid of 2 and they added 3. And now is their offense that much better without Eugenio Suarez and Jorge Polanco? They're clearly just cost neutral.
That's why, but some people are confused. It's very easy when you look at the numbers to understand what's going on there, right? You try and plug in a number and say, hey, can I keep myself in the same range here? Stanek costs $4 million, Chargois costs a little over 1, right? Those are your differences there. That's why trades like that go down. Just explaining when people get confused why stuff happens. There's not a hard salary cap in baseball, but some teams have one. So just understand that. As
some teams?
Many teams.
Wow.
Trevor Richards is acquired by the Minnesota Twins from the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays are giving up bullpen pieces that are, short-term guys, rentals, which makes sense. I'm still going to kind of call them out every time they make a deal because they should be trading guys that are beyond just free agency this year. They should be trading their guys that have 2 years of control. Like, imagine even what they could get for Chris Bassett. Look what you just got for Kikuchi. But anyway, we'll focus on what's here. The Twins get a little bullpen help with Trevor Richards. It's been okay this year.
He's in the book.
I mean, he's not going to be a high leverage arm for them. I mean, the Twins have better options there. Ooh. They still need a starter.
If this is true, this is a big one. Padres got Tanner Scott.
Boom. All right, there we go. Jeff Passan
Scott was waiting for.
A deal. Me?
That's what Scott was waiting for. He loves it. He wants to hear a Tanner Scott or a Flaherty name out there.
We just got it. All right, FT fam. The Padres are finalizing a deal to acquire Tanner Scott from the Marlins. So the Padres are going to have a ridiculous bullpen. We talked about this the other day, right? So now they have Jason Adam. They add Tanner Scott, give you a little punch from the left side. Estrada's a beast. Robert Suarez is a beast to close things out. Adrian Morejon is pretty damn good. He's not as big of a swing and miss guy, but he's pretty good. There's a lot of variety in your bullpen, too. These guys are all pretty different.
Dude, Suarez is filth.
Yeah.
Tanner Scott.
Easy filth.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
This is what you do if you're trying to make the playoffs and win in the playoffs, is you have 5 high leverage arms or whatever the number was.
Yeah. Musgrove's coming back, right? Who knows? Darvish probably won't be back, but Cease dealing.
Bullpen game every day.
Yeah, you got Cease, you got Musgrove.
Meeting Tanner Scott. I feel like sometimes when you meet guys, your first impression is pretty spot on. I don't think he cares about necessarily being a closer. I just think he cares about going out and absolutely shoving. Like when we talk to him about like getting out there and getting in the game, he's like, well, I would just never do that. And I was like, all right, this guy's kind of locked in. So they have 3 all-stars in their bullpen. No, Jason Adam, Estrada was not an all-star, but he struck out the world. So they essentially
He's struggled
recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when he gets his outs, he gets strikeouts.
Yes.
So these guys, that splitty, funky thingy-mabobber pitch he throws.
Yeah, he's swinging Miss City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 99.
Right, well, yeah, here's Tanner, and I agree. I mean, we all spent time with him at the All-Star break. This dude is going to take you out. He will thrive in the postseason environment, too. We talked about the tweet that BA put out there, or maybe in our YouTube chat. No top 100 prospects yet have been traded on Baseball America's list. One person was like, that's not true. Dylan Lesko got traded. I'm like, I don't think he's in their top 100 anymore. I think he fell off.
No, I mean, Dylan Lesko's not only not in the top 100, he's not just on the edge either. I mean, if you were talking about guys on the edge, Agustin Ramirez, who the Yankees traded last week, he's on the edge. You could make a top 100 argument for him. There are a couple others. Jake Bloss, you could make an argument. Connor Norby's not a top 100 guy now, but he's top 100 adjacent. But there are Robbie Snelling, who we just saw in this Marlins trade, is a guy who was in the top 100, but we still haven't seen a guy who's actually currently in the top 100 traded in any of these deals. It is kind of crazy that we're talking about the high price, and I do agree that there's been a high price in a lot of these deals. But at the same time, we are seeing teams hold on to their best prospects in every one of these moves.
I kind of like the Red Sox getting Lucas Sims and maybe paying a little bit less than the Padres paid for Tanner Scott. I've got a stuff number, and Lucas Sims was like the second best rental reliever available, according to his stuff. And Scott was first, but the Padres gave up a lot of different guys. I don't know if they'll all turn out, but they gave up a lot of arms to get Tanner Scott, who was obviously at the top of that market. So I kind of like the Lucas Sims deal better. It's kind of sneaky good.
Jeff Passan reporting the Baltimore Orioles are finalizing a deal to acquire
Jack Flaherty.
Who were you going to say? Jack Flaherty?
Jack Flaherty.
Eloy Jiminez. Same division. Very different player. Eloy Jiminez from the Chicago White Sox to the Baltimore Orioles.
Listen,
you watch more White Sox than anyone.
This says more about the White Sox wanting to get rid of him for me. Like, what? What's he going to do for the Orioles? Like, honestly, what's he going to do for the Orioles? Where's he going to play? DH?
He has to DH. He can't.
But you have O'Hearn at first. He's pretty good. Santander, right? You can't play the outfield.
It's a bat. It's an extra bat.
It's a bat off the bench, right?
Yeah, probably.
He's going to get to watch some games.
He's a free agent at the end of the year.
Is he a free agent?
I think he has an option, but they're probably not going to pick it up.
No, of course.
No.
Yeah. Team option next year. So this is it. So it's just extra bat for the end of the season. I'm sure there'll be some money exchanged as well. But this is it.
You don't think they go and get a starter?
I hope. No. Orioles, no. I think they're done.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was Rogers and it was Eflin. But, I mean, you watched Eloy. Yeah, he cannot play outfield for a team that's going for a World Series. And then, unfortunately, he's been on. I mean, he's had his injuries as always, but when he's been on the field this year, he's not hitting.
Listen, he doesn't play. He is not going to play for the White Sox. They're like, it sure doesn't seem like he's going to play.
What do you mean?
Like the end of the year, coming down the stretch for the White Sox, Eloy Jiminez wasn't going to play. I'm sorry. I did a game on Saturday. He didn't start.
Yeah. So they were done. So it was just.
I feel like this is like we tried. He couldn't stay healthy. Maybe the Orioles can keep him healthy for the rest of the year. He becomes a free. Think about this, okay? And this is not a knock. Again, 2021, Field of Dreams. White Sox are flying high. They win the division. They're going into the postseason. Their four best players on the team: Jose Abreu, Tim Anderson, Eloy Jiminez, Yoan Moncada. They all might be out of baseball next year. Abreu is already pretty much gone. Tim Anderson is out. Eloy Jiminez and Yoan Moncada are probably going to go to camp on a minor league deal next year, fighting to get a job. I mean, that's 3 years ago.
Abreu makes sense because of his age. The others don't. Like,
that's
27 years old.
It doesn't make sense. Like, what happened? This was the middle of their rebuild. These were the four guys that they were, especially Eloy and Moncada and Anderson. These were like, the guys that were supposed to be boom, and they all four could be gone. It's amazing.
I wonder if there's any money there because it's $13 million this season. So whatever the math is for that left for the rest of the year, probably 5-ish. It's not nothing. I guarantee the Sox took a little money back. They made another trade too while we've been chatting. Our guy Robert Murray says the Phillies are acquiring left-hander Tanner Banks from the White Sox. That was a name that was
Who's that?
talked
Phillies?
about. Phillies getting Tanner Banks.
So
from
Eloy
Chicago.
has a option for next year for 16.5.
No chance.
No chance. And then 18.5 in 26.
No, they're going to buy him out for a few mil. But I'm saying
they're going to pay it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Orioles might have gotten them to take on everything but, $1 million or two just now. And for the White Sox, it's like you might as well save anything.
White Sox are trying. This is good. This is what you need to do. Just start over.
Yeah. The Marlins are doing it too. We're going to get to that because since we've spoken, they've done quite a bit to completely get rid of the 2024 Marlins, aside from the dudes that are on the IL. But what about Tanner Banks? I mean, probably a guy that can thrive elsewhere, or at least pitch okay elsewhere. He's had an okay year. I'm curious what the Phillies.
He's been okay out of the bullpen.
Do with him.
He's a length guy though for him. He's a length guy. He's a lefty that can give you multiple innings.
I wonder, does he have options or anything left?
He's ARB eligible.
No, he's 32.
He's only like in his second year, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, very late bloomer. I'm just curious, why, Philadelphia is probably just stacking up some depth, no, Kratz? Because here's the thing that people forget. You can't make a trade for a big leaguer after today.
Yes.
So if you lose a pitcher or two, you're going to your minor league system. So if you can stack up some depth, it's not the worst thing in the world. Jeff Passan reporting that Jack Flaherty is going to the Dodgers.
That's our move. Their answer. There it is. It's a big move.
It's a great pickup.
It is, especially for a short-term pickup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the year he's having, you slot him in behind Glass now. Yamamoto, if he comes back, Kershaw, wherever they get out of him.
Gavin Stone's been good.
Bueller. I mean,
there's a lot of options there.
Whew.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is a big, big pickup for the Dodgers. Also, for fans that are like, well, last year he looked okay, and then he bombed with the Orioles.
Ugh.
The Orioles knew that he could run out of steam at that point. He hadn't pitched much the prior few years. He looks like the Jack Flaherty that we saw a few years back when he was a Cy Young contender. High strikeout numbers, career best walk numbers, the velocity, the breaker, it's all back to what it used to look like. I would say potentially even more mature in terms of his first pitch strikes, like the way he's approaching hitters. I would say when you watch his starts nowadays, looks more polished is the word that I'm looking for. We'll get the return soon because it had to be decent, like we've mentioned. If, he gets to free agency with the Tigers, they offer him a qualifying offer, he would have said no. They'd get a pick in the 30s between the first round and the compensation A round. So we'll find out what the Dodgers gave up for him, but this is exactly why you do this in the offseason. They signed him for 1 year, $14 million. There were a bunch of starters who signed in that similar range. Montas was one of them, but Flaherty was the prize, and they should get something pretty good for him.
Yes, and by the way, I love Padres Nation. You had one job, Yankees, because they're mad that the Yankees didn't get Flaherty and the Dodgers got him. I love Twitter battles like between teams and teams fans. It's great.
One dude that I mentioned earlier at least gets to have one cocktail today. He said he wanted to take a shot for a Dodgers trade. That's a big one. You might want to go.
I want to go double.
Go
double.
Long Island iced tea action or something.
What?
What? It's got all the drinks
I know,
together.
but that's not a shot.
No, I know.
Don't do a shot of Long Island iced tea. Don't do
I
a
won't
shot
do
of
anything
Long
for
Island
you.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying if you're getting a heavy drink, like a drink that's got a lot to it.
Oh, I mean, you could just go like straight tequila or
Sure,
something.
sure. I don't know. It missed, whatever. But this trade hits, okay? This is a guy who can pitch. Yeah, but he can pitch game one for you in a postseason series. He won't for them.
They traded Shohei and Freddie Freeman for him.
But, okay, now let's sum up the Dodgers' returns just now.
Kevin Kiermaier to the Dodgers, too.
So, okay, let's go
for
over
Ryan
this.
Yarborough, I bet.
Ready? In the last few days, the Dodgers picked up Kevin Kiermaier, Ahmed Rosario, Tommy Edman, Michael Kopech, and Jack Flaherty. It's pretty good
They're
job.
revamping. And they'll get Mookie Betts back soon.
Obviously, they got a lot still on the way back. There's going to be some DFAs on the current
Seriously.
roster.
There's going to be some dudes, if they win it this year, that are getting rings that were there for like a week.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Nick Ahmed.
Nick Ahmed hit a big homer, though, against his old team.
I know, but I just don't think there's going to be room for that.
Martín Pérez to the Padres, too.
So who's playing shortstop for the Dodgers, though?
Ahmed Rosario for now.
And maybe Edman later, and maybe Mookie, or you're saying Mookie might play a different position.
Yeah.
But also, just lastly here, to sum this up, the Tigers did what they were supposed to do. They kept Skubal, as they should. They should be a contender next year, at least for a playoff spot. You can't do this to your fans every year, but you're not making it this year, so you trade away the best available starting pitcher. Because also, Ken Rosenthal reported while we were chatting, Garrett Crochet is not going anywhere. Didn't work out. So he stays with the White Sox. So
wait, so the Padres got Martín Pérez. The Yankees got Enyel de los Santos.
Oh, yeah.
And Dylan Carlson to the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yep. Yeah, Luis Garcia from the Angels to the Red Sox. That one was a lock, as he was going to be free agent after this year. It looks like, as we mentioned, some of the Angels that were under contract for next year will stay for that championship journey that they'll be on next year. But anyway,
Tragic.
How are Pirates fans feeling? We didn't get to them yet. We will, but Bryan De La Cruz and
IKF,
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
But then Martín Pérez was on that team, and they shipped him to the Padres.
Yeah. Well, they've been shipping some starters out. They
Yeah.
got rid of Quinn Priester yesterday, too, for Nick York.
0 top 100 prospects traded.
The Pirates needed big bats. I know there weren't many
De La
available.
Cruz
It's
isn't
tough
bad.
to figure
IKF's
out.
a good player.
Yeah, they're good players.
But, yeah. Listen, at least they did something.
True. Let's do Mets real quick. Winker, and then a ton of pitchers, actually. Paul Blackburn, Phil Maton, Ryan Stanek. I'm talking about the last, week and change. Maton's a little further back. And then today, Huascar Brazoban, I'm probably butchering that name, but I've watched him pitch for the Marlins. Looks pretty damn good. Definitely is going to fill a spot for the Mets. They've done a full-on makeover of their bullpen because they weren't prepared to be good. And they were like, okay, wait, we're good. Let's get a new bullpen real quick so we can compete. So do you like what they did?
Of course. I just was texting one of my boys who's a Mets fan, and I said, David Stearns is good at this. David Stearns is good at this. You guys might not. Mets fans are not happy with the deadline because they feel like this is a team of destiny and you're supposed to go all in. I think David Stearns is realistic. I think he's very baseball smart. He made a lot of marginal moves, but he made a lot of moves. He got rid of some guys, and their main concern was their bullpen. These guys are scoring double-digit runs and putting up double-digit hits multiple times a week. That lineup is one of the best lineups in baseball since June. They needed to fortify the bullpen, and now they have guys like Jose Butto, who we saw last night. They were stretching him out potentially to be a starter. I think going out and getting Paul Blackburn, that solves that. He stays in the bullpen. And then you will see what happens with the guys that they have. They added 5 right-handed pitchers, Phil Maton, Ryan Stanek. You actually just mentioned Brazoban, Tyler Zuber, and I just mentioned Blackburn. And then also they bring in a guy who was a villain in Jesse Winker just a few years ago. Mets fans hated that guy. Mets fans still hate that guy. They're waiting for him to have his moment, and I think he will. This Mets team, I think, is right in the thick of the wild card hunt for the rest of the year, no matter if they stumble or whatnot. But I think after seeing the Diamondbacks last year, and everybody loves to bring up the Nationals and their slow start when they won it, why can't the Mets make some noise this year and get back to a World Series? They can hit. I think they've got enough starting pitching. It's tough to see Kodai Senga go down and Christian Scott go down in a matter of a week, but I think that they have enough with Severino, Quintana, what you've seen lately out of Sean Manaea, even a guy like David Peterson. I think they've got enough to compete for the rest of this regular season and see themselves into the postseason.
The Orioles make another trade with the Phillies. They get Gregory Soto from Philadelphia. Let's start there. Kratz, that's all you.
Walk.
True.
Nasty stuff. Gave a lot to the Tigers for him when they first got him, but man, when he's on 99 from that arm angle from the left side, it's awesome. But not enough consistency throwing the ball in the zone. You don't know where you're getting. And now they have the Orioles now have Kimbrel, Sir Anthony, and Gregory Soto.
They have last year's Phillies bullpen, which did not get them to the World Series. Yeah, exactly. Is Alvarado okay? He's probably home like, I'm not picking up.
Alvarado's gone through a little bit of a rough stretch too right now, but they decided to keep him. So nobody's safe in Dombrowski's bullpen.
Yes, the San Francisco Giants did a very slight buy. They got Mark Canha from the Tigers. Nice, but whoop-de-doo for the Giants.
Good for the Tigers.
Yeah, good for the Tigers. They traded who they should trade, guys that were going to be free agents. That was what we talked about the entire time. Arizona gets Dylan Floro. That's a nice one. That's from the Nats. Good bullpen piece for the Diamondbacks. They're smart like that.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.